If you're looking for a smart lock that's compatible with Apple HomeKit and allows you to unlock the door using your fingerprint, well, you have limited options. In this video, I'm going to review one of those locks, the ULTRALOQ Bolt Fingerprint. I'll show you what comes in the box, the features, how to install and configure the lock, what I like about it, and what could be improved. On this channel, I cover how tech can make you more productive, so if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Let's do this. U-tec sent me this device for review. Let's open it up, see what's included, and check out the features. But first, I want to tell you up front that the lock I reviewed could not maintain a reliable Wi-Fi connection. It would routinely go offline, making remote access impossible. This meant I could only control the lock when standing next to it using Bluetooth on my phone or when operating the physical controls on the lock itself. I tried everything to fix this, including confirming it was on a 2.4 GHz network, changing networks, restarting apps, restarting my phone, confirming all firmware and software was up to date, and more. But it just wouldn't stay connected. I contacted U-tec, who appreciated the feedback and said they've escalated internally for a solution. I'm telling you this up front because I don't want you to watch the whole video, get to the end, and then feel like you were misled. My commitment to you is an honest evaluation of my experience with the tech that I'm using. If you're still interested, then let's check out everything you need to know about this device. This lock replaces the existing deadbolt on your door and connects to your home via Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is built in, so you don't need a separate Wi-Fi hub like you do on some other smart locks. Note that this only works with a 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi connection and not 5 GHz. A core feature is that this is the first fingerprint lock from ULTRALOQ that works with Apple HomeKit. This means you can control it using the Apple Home app on your iPhone, Apple Watch, and Mac, or hands-free using Siri. You can also control it using Bluetooth, mobile app, automations, physical keypad, or a mechanical key. It claims that it can identify your fingerprint in less than 0.4 seconds. The physical keypad is backlit for using it at night, and it allows you to enter random numbers either before or after your real PIN code to confuse anyone who may be peeping. You can set up auto unlock based on the location of your phone and also auto lock when the door is closed. It includes a door sensor so you know if the door is open or closed, in addition to knowing if it's unlocked or locked. This smart lock is powered by 8 AA batteries, compared with just 4 that many smart locks use. U-tec claims that this provides industry-leading battery life, but I haven't had it long enough to evaluate that claim, and I suspect the additional batteries are meant to offset the drain from having Wi-Fi built in. This lock is IP65 rated, meaning it's dust tight and protected against water such as rainfall, so it's suitable for use outdoors. Using the U Home app, you can manage who has access to your lock, set PIN codes, access your lock's activity history, and integrate the lock with other U-tec smart home products for creating home automations and receiving notifications. In addition to Apple, this lock also works with other smart home systems, including Amazon, Google, and SmartThings. Inside the box, you get everything you need to replace your existing deadbolt, including the exterior assembly, interior assembly, bolt, strike plate, AA batteries, the optional door sensor, all necessary screws, and paper instructions. Alright, let's get this smart lock on my door. Now, if you have an existing deadbolt, you'll want to remove that first. Physical installation is simple and straightforward and can be done in under 10 minutes. You'll start by installing the bolt into the door, ensuring the up icon is pointed up. Depending on the size of the deadbolt opening on your door, you may need to adjust the length of the bolt. It comes out of the box set for a 2 3/8 inch or 60mm back set, which is what my door uses. Next, you'll screw in the strike plate using the provided wood screws. After this, it's time to install the exterior assembly, which is the part with the numeric keypad and the fingerprint sensor. Make sure the bump on the cylinder tailpiece is pointing up. Push it into the exterior opening of the deadbolt and route the attached cable below the bolt that you just installed. Then, from the inside of the door, mount the interior assembly with 2 long silver screws, pushing the cable through the hole of the assembly. Remove the battery cover on the interior assembly and connect the cable to it. Press firmly to ensure it's completely seated. With the knob in the vertical unlocked position, attach the interior assembly to the mounting plate using the 2 small black screws. Now, you can insert the 8AA batteries, but leave the battery cover off for now. To calibrate the direction of the lock, you'll want to press and hold the number 5 on the keypad. At this point, your lock is fully installed and you're ready for app and smart home integration. While it's possible to configure the lock without connecting to an app by using a series of physical button commands, I'm going to focus on app and smart home setup here. Download and open the U-Home app for iOS or Android and create an account if you don't already have one. Click the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner to add a new device. You can select ULTRALOQ from the menu, or if you wait a moment, your lock may be auto-discovered and then you can just click on it. Make sure you are standing near your lock. After your lock is discovered and selected, enter the program code found on the inside of the battery cover. Then, create an admin code which can be used to unlock the smart lock. The program code won't be needed again unless you reset the device. Name the device or use the default name and select a location in your home, such as the front door or in my case the garage. Make sure the lock is unlocked as it goes through the calibration process. I did not install the optional door sensor. Now it's time to connect to Wi-Fi, and this is where I ran into issues. The app does not present a list of available Wi-Fi networks. It just selects the one that your phone is connected to. My phone was connected to a 5 GHz network, so I had to manually change my phone to the 2.4 GHz network and then manually enter the network name and password. I don't understand why it doesn't just provide a list of available networks to click on, which is pretty common and would be easier. After spending several minutes trying to get that sorted out, it finally connected to my Wi-Fi. You can then click on the lock in the U-Home app. I find it inconsistent in how quickly or slowly it connects to the lock. But once connected, you can see the lock status and configure additional settings such as enabling auto lock or unlock, changing Wi-Fi networks, checking for firmware updates, and more. Since this is the first ULTRALOQ fingerprint lock to support Apple Home, you'll probably want to set up your fingerprint and HomeKit integration. To add a fingerprint, you need to go to the home screen of the U-Home app, not the settings menu for the individual lock. There, click on the user's icon, select the user, and then here you can change the passcode or add fingerprints. I added 2 fingerprints for my right hand. The app walks through a process of scanning each finger 6 times. I then tested this out using the 2 fingers I just added, plus 2 fingers that I did not add to see what would happen. It unlocked great with the fingers that I added and did not unlock with the fingers that I did not add, so that's good. Now let's get this set up in Apple HomeKit. Open the Apple Home app on your iPhone and click the plus sign and select Add Accessory. Scan the setup code on the inside of the battery cover and not the fake setup code on the included manual like I did. However, you must do all this within 10 minutes of first setting up your lock. Otherwise, you'll get a spinning connecting wheel for a solid 2 minutes, and it will then fail and tell you the accessory cannot be found. I went through this process twice, not realizing at first about the limited window to configure Apple Home. I have never come across this 10-minute window before and don't understand why it's in place here. If you miss the window, you'll need to remove and reinsert the batteries in the lock, which I had to do. It finally connected on my third try, taking about a minute to finish connecting. You can then set the location of your lock in Apple Home, set a lock name, and set an access code. Apple Home may suggest relevant lock automations, which are optional. But now you can lock or unlock and create automations from the Apple Home app or use Siri voice control. One thing that's nice about the Apple Home integration is that it gives you an actual percentage for the battery level. In the U-Home app, it only provides a generic description for the battery level, such as high, medium, or low, which I don't find very helpful. After adding to Apple Home, I got a notification confirming the lock was set up with an access code, and you can also enable notifications for each time the lock is locked or unlocked if that's something you want. Because I already had the U-tec skill added in my Amazon account, the lock was auto-discovered and connected to Amazon's voice assistant for hands-free control. Note that if you want to unlock from the Amazon app, you'll need to enable that feature in the settings. By default, it only allows you to lock. To unlock, enter the user code that you established during device configuration and press the ULTRALOQ button on the bottom. Instead, you could place your finger on the fingerprint reader to unlock, or you could unlock using the U-Home or other smart home platform app. To lock, just press the ULTRALOQ button or use a smart home app. You can also use voice control if connected to a voice assistant. And of course, you can also unlock and lock manually from inside by rotating the knob. Let's hear what this lock sounds like when it's operating. Alright, let's get into what I like and dislike about the Bolt Fingerprint, starting with 4 things that I liked. First is the versatility. You can unlock using your fingerprint, code, app, automation, or mechanical key. The fingerprint is the more unique and exciting feature in my view, and I'm happy to report that it consistently worked for me during my testing. This was important for me because I actually own an older version of this lock, the ULTRALOQ U-Bolt Pro Smart Lock and Wi-Fi Bridge. I bought that lock several years ago with my own money, specifically for the fingerprint sensor, but it rarely worked. Deadbolts are usually outside, which means they're going to get wet and dirty. If the fingerprint sensor must be clean for it to work, well, it doesn't seem very compatible with uncovered outdoor operation. I hope the fingerprint sensor on the Bolt Fingerprint continues to operate flawlessly as it has for me so far. The second thing that I liked is the design. I think it's an attractive, well-built smart lock. The sides are brushed metal with a matte black face. I'm especially happy to see a new material for the keypad buttons. On the older ULTRALOQ that I own, the keypad is rubber, which showed wear and tear over time, making it obvious which numbers are used in the PIN code. On this new lock, the keypad is more of a rubbery plastic, which I suspect will hold up better. The mechanical key slot is no longer hidden as it was on the older lock, but that doesn't really bother me. Third, I like how the Wi-Fi is built in, or at least the concept of it. I have yet to see how that impacts battery drain, but I imagine that doubling from 4 to 8 batteries is meant to offset this. It's nice not having to worry about plugging in a separate Wi-Fi hub within close proximity of the lock, which may be difficult in some installations. Finally, I like the addition of Apple Home support to the list of supported smart home platforms. Broad support is definitely a win for customers, but I do have more thoughts on this in a moment. Okay, let's talk about how this lock may be improved. I noticed a few bugs during setup. Wi-Fi failed to connect the first time, and this happened repeatedly as I reset the device multiple times, and each time the Wi-Fi struggled to connect on the first attempt. The U-Home app has a network diagnostic tool which I tried to use to understand if it detected a weak connection, but the diagnostic tool itself failed to operate even after connecting my lock to Wi-Fi. I also noticed the Wi-Fi state in the app would fluctuate between disconnected and connected, which was odd because the lock is about 2 feet from a UniFi U6 in-wall access point. My home internet network is rock solid, and I have multiple smart home devices connected to Wi-Fi in the same space as this lock. When I clicked to enable auto lock, I got a never-ending spinning loading icon, and it failed to enable this feature repeatedly. I was able to enable auto unlock, which works by creating a geofence around your home. Once you exit and re-enter your home geofence and are within a few feet of the door, it should auto unlock. While not a bug, I wish the battery level in the U-Home app had greater detail, notably a battery percentage. It's unclear what high, medium, or low battery means. More frustrating was the inconsistent experience of unlocking and locking using a smartphone app. It was not uncommon for the U-Home app to fail to connect to the lock or to not respond to a command. The same was true when using the Amazon Smart Home app and also the SmartThings app. Thankfully, the Apple Home app performed much better, but setup was a struggle. It failed the first 2 times to connect to Apple Home. Admittedly, it does say on the inside of the battery cover that you must connect to Apple Home within 10 minutes of initial setup, but this kind of limitation is not something I recall ever seeing before and is easy to miss. I also found it confusing that a fake setup code was on the product manual when this is exactly where you scan the setup code on many other Apple Home devices. While I did get it connected to Apple HomeKit, it took more time and effort than it should. My biggest complaint with this lock is the lack of Home Assistant integration. It works out of the box with every other major smart home platform. Now, I assumed that I could still add the lock using the HomeKit controller integration in Home Assistant, but it could never discover this lock. I tried every combination of removing the lock from Apple Home app, unbinding from Apple Home in the U-Home app, force quitting apps, restarting Home Assistant, removing batteries from the lock, and even resetting the lock multiple times, both by removing it from the U-Home app and pressing the physical reset button. Still, HomeKit controller and Home Assistant could not discover this lock. If you have a known solution for this, please share it. For now, I've added the Bolt Fingerprint to SmartThings and then connected it using the SmartThings integration in Home Assistant. I've done this before, but lock and battery status in Home Assistant are less reliable using this particular workaround. The ULTRALOQ Bolt Fingerprint Smart Lock costs $250. Many smart locks cost between $175 and $300, and the Bolt Fingerprint offers a lot: built-in Wi-Fi, at least 5 different ways to control it, integration with most smart home platforms, and good hardware. But the software experience needs to be improved by addressing bugs, enhancing connection and control reliability, and making the Apple Home integration more seamless. Above all, I'd like to see ULTRALOQ re-engage on the Works with Home Assistant relationship. But I don't know how likely that is given their expansion into other smart home devices and the redesign of the U-Home app to be a one-stop shop for their ecosystem of devices and home automations. Let me know in the comments what's most important to you in a smart lock and if you're using the manufacturer app or a smart home platform app to control it. Hit the like button if you found this helpful and subscribe to the channel for tech reviews and tutorials that help you become more productive. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Siri, lock the garage side door.
Okay, the garage is locked.
Lock the Bolt Fingerprint.
Locking. Hang on. Sorry, Bolt Fingerprint isn't responding.